Hello friends, hi. Ramdan Kareem to everyone. Hope you all are doing good. In this particular video, I am going to highlight about such an important aspect of the UAE corporate tax law and how are they different from the corporate tax laws in India. As to certain provisions which Indian income tax law can also borrow from the UAE corporate tax law. At the outset, there is one important concept in the UAE tax law which is pertaining to tax group. So, if there are group of entities in which the holding company has shareholding of 95% or more, they can form a tax group. So, what happens if the tax group is formed? So, if the losses of one entity can be utilized against the profit of another. In UAE corporate tax law, there is concept of transfer pricing even between the domestic companies. So if both the entities are part of the same tax group, it is considered as a single entity and therefore transfer pricing provisions will not apply to that single group of tax group. Accordingly, there is a lot of savings of the administrative hassle. If you have 10 different companies, you have to file 10 different tax returns, you have to maintain 10 different sort of accounting rules, 10 different sort of tax policies, procedures. But if you form all of them in a single umbrella or in a single tax group, it actually saves you an administrative hassle for filing 10 different tax returns. Now there will be a single tax return which will be filed for the tax group. You need to have a tax sharing agreement to determine how will you share the profits or how will you share the taxes attributable to the profits for each group entities. If there are losses, you will devise a mechanism as to how will you set off the losses, or when will you in future, when the loss making entity turns profitable, that entity will not contribute to the tax pool of the entire tax group. That all are several aspects which goes behind the tax group. But more importantly, you will save a lot of administrative effort. So that's an important advantage. And also cash flow. Like if there's a loss making entity and a profit making entity, both held by a same parent company, you are paying taxes on one entity, and on the other entity they are just making losses and you are not able to utilize that losses. There is one more concept in the UAE tax law. If a loss making entity wants to transfer its loss to another group company, it can do so, provided that there is 75% of the shareholding between the entities should be common shareholder. So if there are 75% of the common shareholders or shareholding, then loss of one entity can be transferred to the another. So that's again an important principle in the UAE corporate tax law, which could be borrowed under the Indian income tax law. In India, we do see several companies undertake mergers and acquisitions or transfer of they undertake demerger instead of merger so that they can utilize tax losses of another entity. Or there is a reverse merger, a profit making entity gets merged into loss making entity so that you can utilize the losses of that entity. All such sort of unnecessary, unreasonable corporate arrangements will be avoided if we have such sort of provisions in the Indian income tax law. The another important point is like participation exemption. So if the shareholding in another entity is more than 5% or 4 million dirham, then there is participation exemption you can claim on dividend income as well as sale of shares of some another company. So as such, we don't have any capital gains tax exemption now predominantly in India. But if such sort of exemption has to be embodied, government can think so. So if a company or any other person is selling portfolio investments which is less than 5%, uh, I think, or more than 5%, I think government can envisage certain sort of relief. Predominantly, in my view, when there are dividend taxation or capital gains tax, it is tax on after tax income. Government should not likely tax that sort of income, but it is upon the wisdom of the government whether they want to tax that income or not. But participation exemption is a European concept which is prevalent in most of the European countries, and having it in India also makes sense in my view. The other area is foreign permanent establishment related participation exemption. So similar to the participation exemption on sale of shares, You also claim a foreign permanent establishment exemption uh, in from the UAE corporate tax law. Uh, there are several reliefs. Like in India, we have if you do merger or demerger and you issue consideration in shares and not as a cash consideration, then it is considered as a tax neutral transaction, right? So there are certain sort of qualifying group transfer relief. So if there are assets and liabilities which are getting transferred within the group, then you can claim qualifying group transfer relief. But if it is outside of the group transfer, then business restructuring relief can also be claimed under a separate article. The provisions are similar to that what we have in India, but having such sort of more defined provisions and not linking everything to the approval of NCLT in case of merger can go pretty much more step ahead and lead to a lot of administrative savings. A lot of administrative efforts can be saved if we have a simple provision in the law. Uh, these are quite a few examples which I thought are relevant to note and something which could still be borrowed in the Indian income tax law, especially transfer of tax loss funds as well as forming a tax group. This will really save a lot of administrative effort which goes behind maintaining an entity from a tax perspective. I am thinking of making a detailed video on each of these topics. If you are really interested, please let me know or please put a thumbs up in the comments. I would want to post videos on each section, a small crisp summary, not more than 10 to 15 minutes on each section of the UAE corporate tax law. Please put thumbs up or please put a like button if you want to see such video and I will be more than happy to prepare a video on this topic. Again, it's a pleasant month of Ramadan. Stay safe, stay happy, enjoy, and do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.